My feelings for you are real. And before I ask you anything, I want you to understand what that sentence truly carries. These words aren't said lightly. They aren't spoken in a moment of emotion or impulse. They come from a place that has been quiet for a long time, watching, feeling, understanding, and slowly accepting a truth my heart could no longer ignore. I didn't wake up one day suddenly certain. This wasn't a rush. It was a slow realization that unfolded gently, almost invisibly, until it became impossible to deny. My feelings didn't arrive like a storm. They arrived like warmth, steady, calm, and persistent. And warmth stays. It doesn't disappear when the weather changes. I want you to know that what I feel for you didn't come from imagination or fantasy. It came from seeing you as you are, from observing how you move through the world, how you speak, how you pause, how you care in ways you might not even realize matter. So much. My feelings grew in the quiet moments, not the loud ones, in the spaces between conversations, in the way your presence lingered even when you weren't there. At first I questioned myself. I told myself to slow down, to be careful, to not mistake comfort for love. I examined every emotion, every thought, every pull towards you, and the more I tried to analyze it, the clearer it became. These feelings didn't fade under scrutiny. They strengthened. That's how I knew they were real. Real feelings don't panic. They don't rush to be proven. They don't need constant reassurance. They sit patiently confident in their own truth. And what I feel for you has been sitting quietly in my heart, waiting for the moment I was brave enough to speak it aloud. Loving you didn't make my world chaotic. It made it quieter, more focused, more intentional. I started noticing what mattered and what didn't. I became less interested in shallow connections, less distracted by noise, less willing to give my energy to things that didn't align with my heart anymore. You became a reference point without even trying. I didn't fall for an idea of you. I fell for the reality of you, the way you are when you're thoughtful, when you're tired, when you're quiet, when you're strong, when you're unsure. I didn't need you to be perfect. I needed you to be real. And you were. My feelings for you aren't based on what you give me. They're based on how I feel when I'm simply with you. Even in silence. Especially in silence, because silence reveals comfort. Silence reveals trust. Silence reveals truth. There's something drowning about you. Something that makes my heart slow down instead of race. And I used to think love was supposed to make your heart race all the time. I used to think intensity meant depth. But loving you taught me that depth often feels calm. It feels safe. I want you to know that I didn't arrive at this place without reflection. I thought about what it means to open your heart to someone, what it means to be vulnerable, to risk being misunderstood, to risk rejection. I thought about the weight of asking someone to accept you. Not just your good sides, but your flaws, your fears, your past, your growing edges. And even after thinking about all of that, my feelings didn't retreat. They stayed because they're not fragile. They're honest. I care about you in a way that respects your individuality. I don't want to change you or shape you into something else. I want to walk beside you as you are. I want to learn you, understand you, support you, not own you, not control you, not rush you. My love doesn't come with pressure. It comes with patience. I'm not asking you to promise anything right now. I'm not asking you to feel the same immediately. I'm not asking you to leap into something uncertain. I'm asking you to see me. Truly see me as someone who is standing in front of you with sincerity. Not games, not hidden intentions, not half-truths, just honesty. There were moments when I almost stayed silent. Moments when fear told me it would be easier to keep these feelings to myself, easier to protect my heart, easier to avoid the vulnerability that comes with loving someone deeply. But love that hides isn't love that honors itself, and my feelings for you deserve to be honored. I want you to know that I see you as someone worth choosing, worth respecting, worth showing up for. I see a future not in grand scenes or dramatic promises, but in small, meaningful moments, conversations that matter, shared understanding, mutual growth, laughter that feels effortless, support that feels natural. I imagine a connection built on communication, not confusion, on effort, not uncertainty, on trust, not tests. That's what my heart wants with you. When I say my feelings are real, I mean they aren't conditional. They don't depend on perfection or constant excitement. They're steady, they're intentional, they're rooted in respect. And now comes the hardest part. The part where I stop speaking and allow you space. So here is my question. Spoken without pressure, without expectation, without demand. Will you accept me? Not as someone flawless, not as someone who has everything figured out, but as someone genuine, willing, and ready to care for you with honesty and intention. Whatever your answer is, know this. These feelings were real before I asked, and they remain real even in the vulnerability of this moment. I'm not asking from fear. I'm asking from truth. And truth, once spoken, doesn't disappear. It waits patiently for understanding. My love, before you answer, I need you to hear the part of my heart that stayed quiet for a long time. Not because it was unsure, but because it was learning how to speak without fear. When I asked if you would accept me, it wasn't a question born out of insecurity. It was born out of respect. Respect for you, for your heart, and for the space between two people when something real is forming. I didn't want to rush into your life like a sudden noise. I wanted to arrive gently, honestly, the way feelings like these deserve to arrive. What I feel for you didn't grow because of moments meant to impress. It grew because of moments that were simple and unguarded. The way you listen, the way you respond, the way you pause before speaking, as if your words matter enough to be chosen carefully. Those things told me more about you than grand gestures ever could. I watched how you moved through the world, not as an observer looking for reasons to fall, but as someone slowly recognizing familiarity. There was a comfort in you that didn't demand attention, a depth that didn't announce itself. And the more I noticed it, the more I realized how rare that kind of presence is. I want you to know something important. I didn't build these feelings on expectations. I didn't imagine who you could be. I saw who you already are. And I didn't fall in love with a version of you that only exists in my head. I fell for the reality of you. The way you exist when no one is watching. The way your energy feels, even in silence. There were days I questioned myself. Not because my feelings felt wrong, but because they felt serious. Serious enough to change how I think about love. Serious enough to make me slow down and ask myself whether I was ready to offer someone honesty instead of excitement, presence instead of performance. And every time I asked myself those questions, my heart didn't retreat. It stayed. I realized that loving you didn't make me restless. It made me thoughtful. It didn't distract me from my life. It aligned me with it. I became more aware of what mattered, more protective of my peace, more intentional with my words and actions. You didn't become the center of my world. You became clarity within it. I want you to understand that my feelings for you are dependent on your response. That may sound strange, but it's true. What I feel exists because it's real, not because it needs validation. If you accept me, it will be a shared path. If you don't, these feelings will still have been honest. And honesty never loses its value. But I hope you can see what I'm offering. I'm offering you patience, not pressure. I'm offering you consistency, not confusion. I'm offering you care that doesn't disappear when things get quiet. I'm not perfect. I carry flaws, fears, and parts of myself that are still growing. But I'm self-aware enough to know that love isn't about arriving complete. It's about growing responsibly together without losing yourself in the process. If you accept me, you will be accepting someone who expects you to fix them or fill a void. You'll be accepting someone who is choosing you from a place of wholeness, not neediness, with someone who wants to share life, not escape into it. I wanted to know you, not just the parts you're comfortable showing, but the parts you protect. I want to understand what makes you laugh easily and what makes you quiet, what gives you strength and what drains it. I want to learn how to love you in a way that feels safe, not overwhelming. I don't want a love built on uncertainty or tests. I want one built on communication, on being able to talk when things feel heavy, and being able to sit together when words aren't enough. I want a connection where we can disagree without disrespect, where we can grow without growing apart. And I want you to know that I'm willing to move at your pace, not because I like direction, but because I respect timing. Love that rushes often skips understanding. Love that waits learns how to last. I don't expect you to have everything figured out. I don't need promises today or answers immediately. What matters to me is honesty, yours and mine. If you're unsure, I can hold space for that. If you're afraid, I won't judge it. If you need time, I will respect it. Because accepting someone isn't about saying yes quickly. It's about saying yes consciously. My feelings for you are real because they don't demand anything from you except truth. They don't try to convince you. They don't try to convince. They simply exist offering themselves as they are. I think that's what love should do. Imagine a future not as a fantasy but as a possibility. One where we support each other through changes, where we choose effort on hard days, where we don't disappear when things become ordinary. A future where love doesn't have to be loud to be strong. If you accept me, I will bring honesty into your life, not illusion. I will bring effort, not excuses. I will bring patience, not pressure. I will bring a heart that listens, learns, and stays accountable. And if you can't accept me, if this isn't the right time with the right path, I will still respect you. Because love that respects you even when it risks rejection is love that knows its own worth. So take your time. Feel what you feel. There is no right answer here except the one that feels true to you. And whatever that answer is, know this. My feelings for you were never meant to rush you into something. They were meant to stand in front of you honestly with nothing hidden, nothing exaggerated, nothing forced, just a hard saying, quietly but clearly. This is real, my love. This is the part where I stop asking and start revealing. Not because I expect anything from you, but because honesty deserves to be complete. What I feel for you isn't just something that lives in my thoughts and my words. It has changed the way I carry myself, the way I understand love, and the way I see the space between two people. When something real is present, I want you to know what accepting me would truly mean. Not in theory, but in the quiet reality of everyday life. It would mean accepting someone who doesn't disappear when things get difficult. I won't pretend I always know the right thing to say, or that I'll never make mistakes. I'm human. I will get things wrong sometimes, but I will never choose silence over respect or distance over effort. When something matters to me, I stay present even when it's uncomfortable. Accepting me would mean accepting someone who believes that love is built in. How we show up for each other when no one is watching. I don't believe in grand declarations that fade when routine arrives. I believe in consistency, in checking in noticing small shifts, in choosing kindness even when emotions run high. I want you to understand that my feelings for you didn't come from loneliness or a desire to fill a space. They came from recognition, from the way my heart felt calmer, clearer, and more grounded. The way I thought of you, from the way your presence didn't demand anything from me except honesty. Loving you didn't make me feel incomplete without you. It made me feel more myself with you. That distinction matters deeply. I don't want a love that consumes us or erases individuality. I want one where we remain whole people choosing each other, not out of dependency, but out of respect and intention. I want to support your dreams, not reshape them. I want to walk beside you, not ahead of you or behind you. If you accept me, you'll be accepting someone who values communication over assumptions. Someone who would rather talk through discomfort than let it turn into distance. Someone who listens not to respond but to understand. I won't always be perfect at this, but I will always try. And trying consistently matters more to me than appearing flawless. There were moments when I considered staying silent, moments when fear whispered that it would be safer not to say anything at all, safer to protect my heart by never putting it fully on the line. But love that hides itself eventually turns into regret, and I refuse to let fear decide for me anymore. So I chose courage instead. Courage doesn't always feel bold. Sometimes it feels quiet and steady, like standing in front of someone and saying, "This is me, this is what I feel, take it as it is." That's what I'm doing now. I don't know what your answer will be, and I won't pretend that I don't care. Of course I care. But I care more about being truthful than about being safe. Because love that is real deserves honesty, even when honesty risks rejection. I want you to know that I'm not asking you to accept a version of me that exists only at my best. I'm asking you to accept the version of me that is growing. The one who is learning how to love better, communicate better, and choose with intention instead of fear. I'm ready to learn you at your pace, to understand your boundaries, to respect your need for space or time if that's what you need. I won't interpret your hesitation as rejection or your quiet moments as distance. I understand that trust builds slowly, and I'm willing to let it because what I feel isn't impatient. It's grounded. If you accept me, you won't be stepping into uncertainty alone. You'll be stepping into something where effort is mutual, where care is intentional, and where your voice matters as much as mine. I don't want to dominate or lead from control. I want partnership, the kind where decisions are shared and vulnerability is met with respect. And if you choose not to accept me, I want you to know this too. I will still respect you. I will still honor what I felt. I won't diminish it or turn it into bitterness. Love that is real doesn't punish honesty. It simply exists even when it isn't returned in the way we hope. But my heart believes that what we share, even this moment, is worth the risk of asking, worth the vulnerability of standing open, worth the possibility of being seen fully. I don't want to rush you into an answer. I want you to feel into it, to listen to your own heart without pressure or expectation. Because acceptance given freely is the only kind that lasts. So take your time and know that whatever you choose, this moment came from truth. My feelings for you are real, not because they are perfect, not because they guarantee a future, but because they were brave enough to be spoken honestly. And sometimes that honesty is the most meaningful love we can offer. Of my love, this is the part where I speak not from hope or fear, but from stillness. The kind of stillness that comes when a heart has said everything it needed to say and now stands quietly in its own truth. By now, you know my feelings are real, not because I repeated them, but because they stayed. They stayed through doubt, through patience, through silence, through restraint. Real feelings don't demand urgency. They endure waiting, and that's what mine have done. They've waited not because they were unsure, but because they respected the weight of what was being felt. I want you to understand something deeply important. Loving you didn't pull me away from myself. It anchored me. It didn't distract me from my life. It clarified it. I didn't lose focus or direction because of you. I gained it. I became more intentional, more honest, more careful with what I give my energy to. That's how I know this isn't infatuation. Infatuation rushes. Infatuation needs reassurance. Infatuation fears silence. What I feel for you has never rushed me. It has never demanded reassurance. It has never panicked in silence. It has trusted time in a way that only truth can. If you accept me, you won't be accepting someone who needs constant validation to feel secure. You'll be accepting someone who understands that trust grows in consistency, not intensity. Someone who values emotional safety over emotional fireworks. Someone who knows that love is less about how loudly you feel it and more about how steadily you live it. I won't promise you perfection. I won't promise you that I'll always have the right words or the perfect response. But I will promise you that I won't disappear when things get uncomfortable. I won't withdraw to protect my ego. I won't turn distance into a weapon. When something matters to me, I stay. And you matter to me. I want to be the person who chooses understanding before assumption. The one who asks instead of accusing. The one who listens without planning in defense. I know I'll stumble sometimes. Growth isn't graceful every step of the way, but my intention will always be clear. I intend to show up. Accepting me would mean accepting someone who believes love should feel like a place you can breathe. A place where you don't have to shrink your feelings to keep the peace. A place where you don't have to perform strength to be respected. A place where vulnerability isn't punished later. I want to build something that doesn't rely on fear to stay alive. I want to build something rooted in honesty. I also want you to know that I respect your agency completely. I don't see acceptance as something I deserve just because I feel deeply. I see it as something you get to choose freely without pressure, without guilt, without persuasion. Your yes only matters if it's peaceful, and your no would still be honored with respect. Because love that tries to control the outcome isn't love, it's insecurity, and I don't want insecurity to be the foundation of anything we build. If you accept me, I will meet you where you are. not where I imagine you should be. I won't rush your healing or question your pace. I won't compare your readiness to anyone else's. I'll trust that honesty will guide us better than impatience ever could. I don't expect you to carry my emotions. I take responsibility for my own heart. What I offer you is companionship, not obligation, presence, not pressure, care, not control. I want us to grow side by side, not intertwined so tightly that we lose ourselves. I want us to support each other's independence while choosing togetherness intentionally. That balance matters to me. I also want you to know that my feelings didn't erase my logic. I thought this through. I reflected. I questioned myself honestly. I considered what it would mean to open my life to someone, to be accountable, to another heart, to show consistently. And even after all that reflection, my feelings didn't fade. They matured. They became quieter, steadier, more certain. That's how I know they're real. If you accept me, I won't love you conditionally. I won't withdraw affection to teach lessons. I won't keep score. I won't make you earn what should be freely given. I'll love you with awareness. Aware of your boundaries, your past, your sensitivity, your strength. I'll love you in a way that makes space for who you are becoming, not just who you are right now. And if you're not ready, if this moment feels too soon, too heavy, too uncertain, I want you to know that I won't see that as rejection of my worth. I'll see it as honesty. And honesty is something I respect deeply, because honesty is what brought me here. I didn't speak my feelings to secure an outcome. I spoke them to be aligned with myself, to live without regret, to choose courage over silence. And standing here now, I feel no regret, only peace. Peace in knowing I didn't hide. Peace in knowing I didn't manipulate. Peace in knowing I didn't manipulate. Peace in knowing I didn't rush you or myself. Whatever you decide, this moment remains real. This love remains honest. And this part of me, the part that shows vulnerability over safety, is something I'm proud of. So my love, take your time. Sit with your feelings the way I sat with mine. Listen to what feels true to you without the noise of expectation. There's no countdown here, no pressure, no demand. Just sincerity, just presence. Just one heart standing openly in front of another and saying, this is me. This is what I feel. This is real. And if you choose to accept me, I will step forward with intention, patience, and respect. Ready to build something that doesn't rush, doesn't break easily, and doesn't require us to lose ourselves to belong. And if you don't, I will still walk away whole, because loving honestly has already given me more than silence ever could. That's the truth of what I'm offering. Nothing forced, nothing hidden, just real love, standing still, waiting only for understanding. My love, this is where everything finally becomes quiet enough to be true. Not quiet because there's nothing left to say, but quiet because everything that mattered has already been spoken with honesty, patience, and care. This is the moment where my heart stops explaining itself and simply stands where it opened and unguarded. I want you to know something very clearly before anything else. When I asked if you would accept me, I wasn't asking for certainty, perfection, or promises about the future. I was asking for understanding, for the space where two hearts can meet, without fear, without urgency, without pretending to be anything other than what they are. Because what I feel for you didn't grow out of need. It grew out of recognition. Recognition of the way you carry yourself, the way your presence feels steady instead of overwhelming, the way your honesty doesn't try to impress but still leaves an impact. Loving you didn't pull me into confusion. It pulled me into clarity. And clarity is something I value deeply now. More than excitement, more than intensity, more than the illusion of certainty. I didn't always value it. Once I thought love was supposed to feel like losing control, like standing on unstable ground and calling it passion. I didn't make my heart race or my thoughts spiral. It couldn't be real. But loving you taught me something different, something calmer and stronger. Real love doesn't shake your foundation. It strengthens it. What I feel for you has been steady. Even when it was quiet, especially when it was quiet, it didn't disappear when there was distance. It didn't panic when there was silence. It didn't demand reassurance to survive. It simply stayed patient and grounded, like it trusted its own truth. That's how I know it's real. If you accept me, I won't come into your life expecting you to carry my emotional weight. I take responsibility for my own healing, my own fears, my own growth. I don't want you to save me or complete me. I want you to walk beside me. Two whole people choosing each other, not because they need to, but because they want to. I want to build something where love feels like a safe place to land. A place where you don't have to hide your doubts. A place where your silence isn't